Hello, everybody. Looks like we are now live. So we're saying happy Sunday. We are back. I think we're all in the back category. We've been here before. So I'm Kathleen Marie. I'm here with Christin, Jezak, and Jennylyn, Chung. And we're going to be chatting today, kind of on the topic of healing and loving ourselves. And so we're excited to get to know each other a little more, let you guys get to know us, and then figure out how we're working on this healing and loving thing in these times, these special times. So I think first, let's go around and maybe introduce ourselves a little bit, just a refresher for anyone. So Christin, why don't you kick us off?
Great. Okay. So my name is Christin Jezak, as Kathleen Marie was so wonderful to explain. I am a comedian, not like a stand-up comedian. I'm more like a sketch comedian. Like, I think it takes a lot to be brave and get up in front of a microphone and be like, I'm funny, and I'm not willing to take that dive. So I'm more like, let's play a character and be funny. So that's my thing. I've been acting for a long time. I work in front of the camera, behind the camera. I'm part of a 2-woman comedy act called Unexpected Crowns. We both play a total of like 16 characters, and I have a 1-woman show on Mother Teresa that I've been performing and touring with for a long time. So that's a little bit about me.
Cool. And how about you, Jennylyn?
Okay, so I was just telling the girls before we started that I don't know how to label myself these days anymore, but my first love is singing, and I grew up singing.
I'm not like a stand-up comedian. I'm more like a sketch comedian. Like, I think.
Sorry. So yeah, my first love is singing, and then I've been kind of an entrepreneur and kind of a content creator on social media. So my goals for 2021 are more pumping out a lot more content on my podcast, on my YouTube channel, things like that. And yeah, I sell all kinds of things. Like, I have a jewelry line, I have an ebook, people can book time with me to chat with me, to have voice lessons with me. So it's very hard to label myself, but I do all kinds of things, and everything I do I love a lot. I'm super passionate about my career and everything I do. So
I want to see your jewelry line.
Yes, I only have a few pieces, like about a dozen pieces now, but this year I'm going to be getting an assistant, and we're going to be like really up leveling my jewelry line. I'm really excited to take it to the next level. But so far it's just 12 very simple sort of inspirational pieces mostly for like singers and artists and things like that. But I hope to be expanding that a lot in 2021.
Where do we see those? I love jewelry.
Yeah, you guys can check it out. It's just a little boutique on Etsy.com. It's just Jennylyn Jewelry.
Okay.
And yeah, so just one of the things I do.
So cool. Yay. I love all the multi-talented stuff going on. You know, I feel like that's the thing with creatives is I feel like the world tries to tell us we should do one thing, and then we're like, but I care about a lot of things, and I express myself in a lot of ways. And so, yay, multifaceted artists.
I mean, and it's so funny too, because what you wear, like, I love the fact that you have stuff that's like encouraging to artists and that sort of thing, because what you wear can really be encouraging. I mean, I can't tell you how often, like, I happen to be a Christian, so a lot of the times, like, just having a piece around my neck that I can kind of like just grab hold of in like tough situations and just be reminded just can be so powerful, you know.
I think that brings up a good point about healing and self-love. The idea of grounding yourself, that's something I've learned a lot about this year. So I'll throw out that as a first question. How do you ground yourself? Like, I feel like before you can heal and grow, you got to be planted somewhere, right? So what's your source? You mentioned the jewelry pieces, Christin. What are other ways that you sort of find that steady place?
Well, one of the things that I really appreciated about 2020, and I know it's so weird to say that you actually appreciated something, it was taking a time out because sometimes like today's been one of my best days. It's literally been one of my best days. And what did today consist of? Today consisted of literally, I have there's a community out in the desert area of California, and they do like healing ministry and that sort of thing. So they had like almost like a retreat day with like worship and like a teaching, and it was like literally probably like a 3-hour span. But it was just so good for me to just take a time out, like sometimes, or just going for walks, like long walks. Like I wasn't able to do that pre-pandemic. You know, that was something that I just did not have time to do. And I love going for walks on the days, especially the days that I don't work, because I literally work 10-hour days. Really long marathon days. So on the days when I'm off, rejuvenating and taking time out, just so that I remember even like who I am, like taking the time out. Like I took so many notes today, and especially of it speaking to my soul and my spirit of like the truth of who I am. And we have to do that. Like we absolutely have to, or I have to at least. I don't know about everyone else, but that's how I feel.
What about you, Jennylyn? What's grounding for you?
Let's see, grounding for me. I do. I typically will like meditate and pray almost every day. I used to really resist meditation. I didn't like it very much. I could never quite sit still. And it's very interesting. I had a cat for 21 years. Her name was Cutie Chung, and she was crazy, nuts, and she used to attack people and attack my father in front of his friends. Anyway, so Cutie, she used to, like, when at nighttime, when the moon was out and the stars were out, she would go up to either an open window where she could feel the breeze, or even like if the front door was open with a screen, and she would sit there and she would almost like meditate. I could see her kind of like swaying back and forth. She was a very old cat, and she would sort of sway and look up into the moon. And I could just tell she was like really in this sort of interesting, like one with the world, I guess, one with nature meditative space. So sometimes when I get like out of my element and I'm feeling like kind of restless and it's hard for me to be calm and still within my soul, I remember my cat and the way she was. And so she was very inspirational to me, interestingly, an animal. But some of the things that I do daily, I'm very guarded too about what I take in. So I don't listen to negativity ever. Like I don't listen to negative news. I mean, I'm prone to fall into things like politics and things like that. But the truth is, it just gets, the more nasty it gets, the more I check out. I'm only in it if it's going to be a positive or productive or a learning situation. But I don't watch movies that make me miserable. Like I don't keep company that is not in some way giving me some sort of love or encouragement in my life. So even things like how we were talking about, like, having like a piece of jewelry with something, inspirational on it, or something religious or spiritual. I even have things like cups. This says hello, gorgeous.
Yeah.
I have silly little things like that I keep around my house that keep me very motivated and keep me positive, because it's not to say I don't struggle with, I would be lying to say I struggle with like depression or something like that, though I have in the past. When I was younger, I struggled with depression, anxiety. So I don't want to like exaggerate it. I don't have like long periods where I'm very sad and melancholy, but I have moments. I'll have a moment that threw me off. I'll have a circumstance that upsets me or whatever. So those things I try to work through and really feel my emotions and not suppress anything, and just like let myself feel and just move through them. But in general, I'm very careful about surrounding myself with pretty much everything that is in alignment with joy, peace, love, and just positive energy. So even down to something so simple, when I first got these cups that are like, hello, gorgeous, hello, beautiful, it gets into your subconscious mind after a while. Believe it or not, little things like jewelry pieces and things like that, when you're looking at those words, it gets into your mind. And before you know it, you're going to start to see it more and more, not only in how you feel about yourself, but how other people see you, perceive you, treat you. you know, because the world, I believe, is really just a mirror, a reflection of how we feel inside, sort of penetrated out into our 3D reality. So I try to, that's kind of like my everyday thing. So it's kind of a hodgepodge, but in essence, I do try to keep everything in my life uplifting, positive, peaceful, and joyful. So what about you, Kathleen? Tell us more about you.
Yeah,
I did too much, and tell us more.
Skip that. So yeah, I am like you guys, a multitude of things. I think what connected me with this podcast was my singer, songwriter, performer, part of me. I'm also a high school teacher. I'm also a mom. So I have a lot of stuff going on, but I love writing and expressing through music. And so that's my love. And in terms of staying grounded, kind of a mix of what you both said. I got a cat for the first time in my life a few months ago. And she has been really good about teaching me to take breaks, like Christin was talking about, because she will come and just fall asleep on me. And I'm like, well, I guess I have to sit here now, be still, which is something I really struggle with. On those days off, I feel like I have to be doing something. And it's really hard for me to allow myself to rest. And so she's been training me to rest. And then similar to you, Jennylyn, I love meditation. I got for myself and like all my sisters the Headspace meditation app for Christmas, like a year-long subscription. And I love doing that because like you, for a long time, I didn't really get it. And then Headspace is really good about teaching you like what meditation it actually is. It's not just like sitting still and it's not about not thinking, it's about just being aware. So much good stuff. So I've learned a lot about that this year, and have really seen how it does it. Like you said, like it changes what's going on in your brain, and how you perceive the world as you practice it more. And so I've seen a lot of good things, self-love and growth come through meditation. And yeah, like I am not a big jewelry person, but I will get simple pieces that just are a message to me, like a reminder. And so like, this year I've been wearing this ring. That's just been a great message for me. It's a semicolon. I don't know if you guys can see it, but
I love it. Yes.
So the idea that like this, wherever you are right now is just a semicolon. The sentence can shift from here, but it keeps going. And so that's been really helpful for me this year to kind of go back to for a grounding place. Yeah.
I love that. I have a ring too that I'm wearing that I wear that's a reminder. I don't know if you can see where it says, but it says fiat, which means yes. It means yes. It was it's the Latin for yes. If you go back, so if you go back in the Bible to when Mary says her fiat, her yes to the angel, yes, I will do this. So it's like a reminder of saying yes, like saying yes to life, saying yes to the things that come up, and just being a servant, being a servant of others and humanity. So yeah.
I love that because, one of the things I was learning about myself this year was I had this, so like we all have like certain limiting thoughts or blocks or just negative perceptions about ourselves that can slow us down, from getting from A to B, basically, where we want to in life. And one of the limiting beliefs that I uncovered for myself this year is the limiting belief called I'm not ready. I didn't know I felt this way. I did not know I felt this way. I thought I was ready for everything fabulous. So I was like, bring it on. But there were a few things that happened in 2020 that really opened my eyes to this limiting thought that I had about just like, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And so it was funny, like I heard this celebrity, Bethany Frankel, she says that she tries to always come from a space of yes, like whenever she can. She's like, I try to come from a space of like, I guess yes, or I'm ready, or, let's try it, let's see where it goes. So I had no idea that fiat meant yes, but I think that's really encouraging. And I'm really trying myself to be like more and more open to new things that are coming my way.
Yeah. Something you said, Jennylyn, that just got me. I don't know. It just got me into this deep thought. I'm having deep thoughts over here. But it was so funny because you were talking about, surrounding yourself, like what you're hearing, what you hear. And then I just started thinking about the fact that I know you ladies sing, and I know, as an actress, like, I have words that come out of my mouth. And I was just thinking about the fact that I feel like, I think when I try to be positivity for others, like when I try to say affirming things to others, it also changes me. And I don't know if you guys feel that way too. Like, it's like whatever's coming out of me, like if I'm saying words that are positive and uplifting, it even changes me on the inside.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe in that power and the power of words. And I've been kind of on this repeat of like, words matter, the words we say, the words we take in from other people, and just really choosing those words of life, essentially, the words that are gonna, build other people up, or bring light and encouragement. And I think it's really important right now in the world today to have those words of life in us, coming out of us.
Yeah.
I would definitely say I agree. And for me, I flip it. I find that when I'm good to myself, when I speak loving words to myself, when I, clean up the dialogue in my head, how it's so easy to have like this negative dialogue, you're stupid, you're slow, you're whatever, you're not successful, whatever it is in your head. I find when I clean that up, and when the dialogue in my head is generally pretty loving, it just reflects out. It's like I literally can't help it.
Yeah.
I am able to love others, accept others, be forgiving towards others. It's like, so, I think it can go back and forth. I think that makes sense that the more you focus on the power of your words, which I agree very much, words are extremely powerful. I used to think words were nothing. Just say whatever, even self-deprecating humor and, just putting yourself down. Funny, because I'm not really showing it in this podcast, but I like to have fun. I like to be fun, silly, and I don't like to take life all that seriously, to be honest. And I would, even in sort of self-deprecating ways, just like put myself down.
Yeah.
And I believe words are really powerful. I don't do that anymore. I really try hard, and I try hard not to do that with other people. Like, it's okay to like joke around with other people and crack a joke on your friends and all that stuff, but I used to almost be kind of mean sometimes because I was being mean to myself. So I would do it to other people. So I've really learned the power of words. So across the board, I really try to make sure that what I say to myself and to others is loving. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have any like favorite words or phrases or mantras or something that like really works for you, that like either you like to receive or you like to give?
Yes, I say things like, and I think this applies to people like Christin, who are Christian, and people who are just more, spiritual, or any religious belief. I was raised Christian, but I consider myself now more Christian mystic or more spiritual. But some of the things I like to say are things that I've been studying in the Bible my whole life, but I just never really absorbed them. So things like, I am perfect, whole, and complete. That's a big one I say. I will often say things like, my life is blessed, my life is blissful. Everything is working out perfectly for me. Everything unfolds in perfect timing. And but probably my favorite one lately that I've been working on with myself and people that speak with me on a one-to-one basis is, I am perfect, whole, and complete. And when people begin to feel that within themselves and really believe that, they have so much more confidence, and then they're able to see other people the same way, just working that out. How about you, Kathleen? Do you have any certain mantras or certain things you're working on pertaining to this stuff?
Yeah. So this year, I kind of delved into the concept of like the inner child and healing, childhood wounds and traumas and things. And so kind of in my studies and in my work with that, the phrase, "you are safe, you are loved," has been really iconic for me to like focus on. And I've used it with myself when I'm feeling just like out of control, scared, you know, whatever. Just kind of repeating that, like, you are safe, you are loved, you are safe, you are loved. And then I've also been able to see it with my son, who was really struggling with nightmares and having a hard time sleeping. And I just started like speaking that over him every night, like while he gets his little back scratches and his lullabies, like just, you are safe, you are loved. Like no matter where you are, no matter what's going on, you are safe and you are loved. And he's like sleeping so much better now, and just he seems more grounded. And I think that those words have been really helpful for both. And he and I are really similar in the way we perceive and experience the world. A lot of like empathetic kind of stuff. So it's like in the world where there's a lot of kind of growing pains right now, I think we've felt it a lot this year. And so we've needed to feel that safety, you know, within. And it's been nice. How about you, Kristen?
So, you know, I think it's definitely seasonal. Like you said, like there's certain words at certain times that become like your thing. So I was just thinking about like what in the last 6 months, or, you know, and there was one thing that popped up for me. And somebody had said to me, like I said, like about 6 months ago, and they were a very spiritual person, you know, they said to me, they said, "Oh, you know, I have a word for you. You're chosen." And it's funny because you talk about like in you know, in the Christian faith about how like being chosen for a mission for God. But as I started to like unpack that and it started to sit with me, I go through a lot of rejection. And I think anyone who's an artist, first of all, anyone who's an artist goes through a lot of rejection. As an actress, I am consistently, you know, going through rejection. I think, you know, out of like 20 auditions, I might book one, you know, or maybe out of 50, because that's the reality of like how many auditions, especially in LA, that you might be going to, you know, and not, you don't hear anything back. And then after like the 50th one, finally, it's like, oh my gosh, somebody said yes. So, you know, there's that. And then also I'm in the dating world. I'm available. I'm available. And I'm not going to say how long or how old I am, but I've been a long time available. And we've got, I've gone through a lot of rejection in dating too. And it's really hard to go through that. So it was one day, it just sort of clicked. Like there was, like I said, there was the original meaning of like what he was saying to me, or what I felt like he was trying to say in the moment. You're chosen, you know, you have a mission, you have a purpose. But then the word chosen started to really pop out at me. Like it really started to speak to my heart, because I was just so tired. I was so tired of waiting for another guy to choose me, of waiting for another casting director to choose me. So this phrase of remembering, I was like, wow. I was like, that has deep meaning, to say that I'm chosen, to say that I'm chosen, that somebody chose me, that I don't have to go looking for it. I don't have to go searching for it. I don't have to go waiting for it. I'm chosen right now. And that's just really powerful. And it's something that I still like. I'm glad that we talked about this, because now it's reminding me, I'm like, I need to think about that more often. That is a word for me.
That's so amazing.
That's so beautiful. I think too, yeah, to be chosen by God and to feel that, and to be chosen by yourself, like you choose you. Like it's so hard, because it's like you don't, I don't know if it's like we're programmed to be this way, or I don't know what it is. Like as a woman with a big heart, like you don't want to be like thinking of yourself as like selfish, or like always focused on yourself and choosing yourself. But very strange how like when you choose yourself and you put yourself first, and you like really do that down to like the silly little things. Like, no, I can't do that because I have a nail appointment. Like I like, me looking cute is a priority. No, I can't go, you know, no, I'm not going to pay for half the bill on this date because I'm a lady and I've never paid for a date. Like, of course not. You know, no, I'm not going to hang out with this friend that, you know, doesn't in any way uplift me or encourage me, like, because I don't have people like that. And I'm like, to choose yourself first in very practical ways too, not only spiritually and mentally, but also in very practical ways, and being very choosy
Yeah.
about life, very choosy about who you spend your time with. Obviously, someone like Christin is so beautiful and bright. Like whoever gets you is like obviously ridiculously lucky. And ultimately, I think where it comes from for us as women is choosing ourselves. And when we choose ourselves, or we at least, at the very least, really feel how God has chosen us, I do think people reflect that back to us like a mirror.
Hmm. I think
So,
that's been a big lesson for me too this year is separating the idea of selfishness and caring for myself, and kind of standing up to that concept that can exist as a woman and as a mother, and all these things. Like I need to take care of myself, because if I'm not doing that, I'm completely incapable of taking care of anybody else. And so when I take that permission to, put myself first and take care of myself, do the whole oxygen mask thing, I become better at everything that I do. And we do a lot of stuff. And so knowing that all the stuff that we're able to accomplish starts with, choosing ourselves, um, is a very freeing, empowering process to go through. So it's a great word, chosen. I love it.
Yeah. And I even love like times like this, like, Jennylyn was talking about surrounding yourself with people, who you surround yourself with and that sort of thing. And even this kind of time, it's so amazing when you have the right people around you and in your life. Like I feel energized, even from this conversation right now, just ladies getting to hang out.
Yep. That's what I was kind of thinking along those lines. And that was kind of a question that was forming in my head, was like, who are your people? And how have you found them? And like, what's the process like for people who maybe don't feel like they have that community right now? What kind of advice do you have, or experiential wisdom to people who are looking for that positivity and community? Jennylyn, we'll start with you.
yeah.
On the spot.
Well, guys, my life hasn't changed all that much from COVID, because I've been working from home for a long time. So that's not all that different, just being home. But so seeing my friends, I still dine out. I still go have drinks. I was out for cocktails on New Year's. For me, that's just how I've approached it. I like to continue living my life normally. But I will say this, as a girl's girl, I'm very much a girl's girl. And I've always been really blessed. I've had such beautiful friends in my whole life. Something that I do to keep the vibes high with me and my friends, because I look at my friends that they are perfect, they are whole, they are complete. And if there's ever anything going on that I'm not loving, or I want us to up level our thinking, or, I just want something to change, I always go within. I try not to ever point it out that way. I go within. And so some of the things I do, even in my prayer or my meditation practice, is I actually imagine me. I have probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 best girlfriends living all over the country. And I literally envision us sitting on our thrones. I'm not making this up.
Oh,
Putting the crowns on our head, like the queens that we are. And my girlfriends, if y'all met them, they're total queens, all of them. And I envision that. And I try to, I'm a big believer in the power of prayer, but I'm also a big believer in envisioning things. Like I really think when things get into the subconscious mind, through imagination and visioning and things like that, I find that they tend to come to pass. They tend to materialize in my world. So because of that, I do things like that. I have imagery of my girlfriends and I putting our crowns on. I have imagery in my head of the fabulous girlfriends that I have. I have on my vision board pictures of girls, out for drinks, having fun. I've always sort of kept a very sort of upbeat, positive mindset about women. And I'm always trying to envision what the most ideal situation is for us. And I find that it typically works. So again, I want to make that clear. They're perfect and they've always been perfect. It's sometimes my perception isn't always right. So I find with women that struggle in their relationships and they're feeling really lonely, maybe they don't feel they have a best friend, they don't feel they have a group of girls they can really depend on. I think the best thing you can do is go within and not only pray about it, but also begin to envision in your imagination and in your mind what it is, you would like your friends to be. And I find that the things that you hold in mind tend to manifest in your reality in due time, in perfect timing. That's my response to that. What about you girls?
I guess I'll go next. It's so hard because at my core, I am so faithful and I'm so steadfast and I'm so like, if I make a friend, I want to make the friend for life because I don't know if it's like the Portuguese like homebody in me that's just like this motherly like I will keep them for forever. But the truth of the matter is in life, there are some people that you do get to keep forever. And it's true. And no matter what, they're always your friends, like sisters. But unfortunately, it's not everyone. And there has to be, and I'm not talking about loyalty or faithfulness, because this is something different. Loyalty and faithfulness is, I'm always for you no matter what. But there are times and seasons where people, they move. Things happen, it's not because of you. It's not something that you did. It's just life circumstances. Someone, like I said, someone might move. And I had that over 2020. I had someone who was extremely, extremely close to me, was like one of my super, super girlfriends. And she moved. There was nothing I could do about it except embrace the fact that God was bringing new people into my life. So something that happened was I've never had this in LA before. Like I've never had a situation where I really like knew my neighbors, like legit. Like I remember growing up in Massachusetts and I would know my neighbors. But in LA, because of the way that it is, we're so spread out. People are very like in their own little bubble that you don't necessarily always know like who lives next door to you. And that's the truth. Like that is the truth of the matter. So I just, I had a situation with the pandemic where all of a sudden I was walking in my neighborhood consistently. I was walking in my neighborhood and I was getting to know of like, is it Mr. Rogers that is like, who are the people in your neighborhood? Or maybe it's Sesame Street. I don't know which one it is. It's one of those where like I was getting to know the people in my neighborhood. Like what a novel idea that maybe the people around you could be meant to be in your life. Like who would have thought that one? But it was the truth, and it was beautiful because there are two ladies, one who literally lives one house over from me, and then one who literally lives 2 streets over from me, who actually go to church with me. They're actually they go to the same church circles that I do. And here they are in my backyard. Okay. So one day I happened to be taking a walk and I ran into one of them and she's like, do you walk all the time? And I was like, yeah. She's like, we should walk together.
Great.
So literally, I started walking with her like every weekend, like once every weekend when I was off from work, I started walking with her and I'm just so grateful. Their families become like my family. And then there was a church because my church had kind of like shut down, like really shut down during the pandemic. Like they weren't having services and I wanted to go somewhere and be connected. It was like important to me. I mean, with social distancing and masks and that, it's safe and it's, for us outdoors, it's nice being able to do that. So there was a church that stayed open throughout everything. Like they were able to continue. And my neighbor told me, she's like, you should go there. She's like, you should go there. It was a Catholic church. They have services every day. It's going to be great. Next thing I know, they're roping me into helping out every Saturday. They're like, oh, so-and-so who works the computer, she's old and she can't be there this weekend. Can you come and help check people? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be there anyways. I could do that for a weekend. The next thing I know, I'm on the schedule every week.
It's your yes ring, your fiat.
Yeah, correct. But what I came to find out from helping at that church is all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this person knows that person. And oh my gosh, you're cousins with that person. I didn't know you were cousins with that person. And all of a sudden I became part of their community. and they become a part of my community. My neighborhood has become a part of my community. And I don't know like how long, like what this season will be. Like, will it be an everlasting season? I don't know, but I'm grateful for these people in my life right now. And sometimes it's like, it's being open to that. It's being open. It's letting go. And that's part of love too. You know, my friend had to leave. She had to leave. So it's part of love, knowing for her, this was the best thing for her. And out of love, I will allow her to go, and I will be open to whoever, you know, God puts in my life now. And I mean, you filter. If they were weirdos, I wouldn't be spending that much time with them, but they weren't. So they're good people.
I think that's a really great point about allowing yourself to be open to it. Because that's, for me, I can do conversations, and like I love meeting people. I'm like perceived as an extrovert, but I also have this very protected layer of myself, and it's hard for me to go through those steps just after years and years of doing it, and you know, back and forth, and going through different seasons where friendship was encouraged or discouraged through various life circumstances. I've built up walls to where it takes a lot of trust for me to let those barriers down and to like delve into that deeper friendship. And so learning to trust this year has been really big. And that really just starts with trying it and, you know, opening up to people. And, you know, like Jennylyn was saying, envisioning, like, I love that concept of just like, it's not here yet, but like, I believe it can be. And so I'm going to open myself up to that possibility. And then I start to open up to people. And that, I think, envisioning something and having a really clear picture of what you want and need in your head allows you to take those intentional steps, like you're mentioning, Christin, to make that a reality. And it feels natural to do them. And so I've got a couple girlfriends that through this year, they've really taught me a lot about how to intentionally maintain relationships, even in a time when we can't be together as much. And they have taught me about accountability and reaching out to each other and being there for each other. And it's like, you know, I want to show up for them, you know, in a really real way. And so that has been huge for me. I've been in a relationship that encouraged me to have strong friendships versus, you know, discouraged. And that's been really nice this year to like have that as a concept of like, oh, friendships are really good, even if you're in a relationship, like vital. And so that has been amazing healing for me this year. And yeah, just echoing, you know, sort of living out what you ladies embody with your lives. So that's really cool.
I think what you guys brought up about trust is such a pivotal thing I've been thinking about this year. And so I was showing the girls my view. I have this like ridiculous view of Manhattan from my apartment. And I realized the other day, I just moved in. So this is a brand new apartment. I just realized the other day, I'm like, if there's a fire here, because I'm like 26 floors up, I'm like, I'm probably toast. I mean, the odds of me getting out alive, given that I'm on the second to the top floor, less than other people. And something hit me in that moment. I was like, I don't even care. I was like, this view is so good. I'll take it. I'll take it. And it hit me. I was like, nothing in life is worth having that doesn't require tremendous faith and trust. Nothing. There's nothing in my life. And so when I think about, because a lot of times women will call me for coaching about friendships. Actually, that's like a big thing that a lot of women, I don't know if the word is struggle with, but I don't know the right word, but they want to feel those deeper connections. They want girlfriends. They want people they can trust. And I realized, like, one of the things I do in relationships with women, I do trust my girlfriends. I really do, but not as much as I trust myself. I trust myself to be able to handle whatever imperfections may arise. I trust myself to be able to be gracious if things aren't, you know, exactly the way I want them to. I trust myself that I'm a good enough soul to attract to me women with character. You know, I trust myself that I can handle when things have to part, because not every friend, as Kristen mentioned, is for a lifetime. There are a few, but most friends will come and go through seasons of your life. So I realized like I had to, the last year, there were many things I had to do in my life in order to up level my life, the way that I have my lifestyle. And every step of the way required such tremendous trust in the person that I was dealing with, whether it was like my tax guy, a broker, a this, a that. I would lay in bed and I'd be like, I can't even believe I'm trusting people to this extent. I could get screwed so bad. And I was like, you know what? Nothing in life is worth having. Everything that is so fabulous in life, like the most amazing view of Manhattan, requires a level of faith and trust. And so I think that might be for some women that are growing in their connections with other women and just really trusting those relationships. It is trust, but the greatest trust of all is the trust in yourself. And if you're a good soul and you're a good person, you're a good friend, your friends won't be perfect, but the people you attract to you will have an essence of that. And I think that when a woman feels good about herself, she can trust herself to handle the imperfections that arise.
That's so powerful.
About that, Kristen, just curious.
When you were talking about perfections, the little lights went on in my brain because I was just starting to think about that fact. And like, I think one of the things that really helped me to heal in life in general was when I stopped expecting the people in my life and around me to be perfect, and myself. I think it's a whole thing, because sometimes we get just so hung up and people will disappoint, just like I will disappoint because I'm not perfect. And there's a part of me that has to accept that. I love it. I think it's the Quakers when they do quilts, they actually leave a piece, or they purposefully have an imperfection like in their quilts. And I think it's the Quakers. Like I said, I can't remember off the top of my head, or it could be the Amish. I'm like, could be the Amish. They're very different. I do realize that. I do realize that. But no, it's important. It's important. Or like the Japanese, have you heard of that art with how they take the broken pieces of like a bowl, and then they'll put them together with the gold, the gold. There's a special name for that too, which we're also not going to do that because I can't remember it.
Are you sure that wasn't?
No.
Just kidding.
What is it?
But are you sure that wasn't in China? Just kidding.
No, that's definitely Japanese. No, but being able to accept, because the thing is, like, at the end of the day, and this has to do with self-love, absolutely. Like Jennylyn was talking about how if you love yourself, you'll love others better. Loving the imperfection in you and knowing that it's okay, that you are not complete, that you are a work in progress, that we all have a way to go. We're just much more gentle and loving. I love, I was listening at one point, and like, it was literally this past summer. It was like a healing point this past summer. As I said, I like to listen to things. I like sometimes to like take breaks. And this preacher was talking about how it's from, I think it's Romans like 9 something or other, maybe 9:12. But he was talking about how in order to love, we have to cling to the good of someone. And he was talking about letting go. And he started to say, like, I feel like some of you are in relationships, like even with your boss, and he's like going through the list, and you have to cling to the good. You got to let go of all, the imperfections. And it's true. And that's what love does. It doesn't excuse it. There's a difference between excusing, but there are some things that you just know in this journey, this is where this person's at. And it's something that they're growing in, just like I have things that I'm growing in. And if we can accept that, in ourselves, and accept that in others, it will bring us a lot more peace, rather than spending the hours that we do so upset of why person A did X, Y, and Z. Or why did I do that? Why did I do that? And we spend hours beating ourselves up. And sometimes it's just best to just say, I'm a human being. I am a work in progress. We can work on it for next time.
Yeah, I think opening to the potential for growth, the endless potential for growth, and the vital need we have for growth. Like if we can just always be in a place of openness to learning new things and moving into that, I think you said like level up, level up your life, right? And that's been a big thing for me too. That would probably be my other big mantra from the year, is this idea of like, and so we grow. And it's like dot, 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 and so we grow. Because like whatever's going on, I don't know which way I should point for the past, but whatever's been going on, wherever we are, like semicolon, and so we grow and we move on into that next place. But we can't do that if we don't give ourselves grace, and we can't allow people to grow if we don't give them grace and allow them to be in that place. And so, yeah, the more we receive the I love you right where you are, the more we feel able to keep moving forward into who we can be and want to be. So.
I think it's good that you don't know which way to point for the past. It means that you don't know where it is and you're not looking at it. That's a good thing.
Good. In the moment. Any other questions you guys have or thoughts you have on self-love?
I feel, I can't remember, guys. How long is this supposed to go? Just curious.
We've been going for almost 50 minutes. I personally, when I'm on these without Betsy, I mean, normally an hour is my cutoff. Like I normally say, all right, we hit the hour mark. If we're, obviously if someone's finishing up a question, I let them finish, but typically, so we've been going for 50 minutes. So if we have like a final question, it probably would be good to have the final question and then wrap it all up.
Good idea. Okay, so we could tag team off what Kathleen said about self-love. Maybe we can tell our version of self-love, or how we love ourselves in a more practical sense.
Okay, I like that.
I'll start. I love myself by putting myself first. Like I don't put the needs of others before my needs. I don't carry out the agenda of others to my own detriment, which I used to do. I used to actually do things that actively worked against me, and that actively either hurt me or lessened me in order to be a doormat, a nice girl, helpful to others. So I don't do that anymore. So for me, the best act of self-love I can think of is that I move in my own best interest always. And I seek to create win-wins. I love to profit other people and uplift other people. I love nothing more than for people to come up with me as I'm continuing to up-level my life. But I really have that clear, that I'm no longer allowed to sacrifice myself like a martyr in order to somehow, be a nice girl or a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. And I think that I love myself by honoring the deeper desires of my heart. So that can be tricky because we can get confused. I've surprised myself how often I've said, oh, I want this or I desire this, only to come to find I actually didn't really care all that much about that. Mm-hmm. So I actually don't say that so lightly anymore. I tend to think for a bit about, what does Jennylyn want? In the short time on earth, I hope to live to 90, but it's still short. Mm-hmm. In my short, 100 years on this planet, what are the things that I truly desire to experience, to have, the type of love I really want to give, the work I want to do? And I feel that I'm loving myself best when I'm not betraying myself. So I do things that are in alignment with my true desires, and I try to identify them. And I try to be very courageous and very bold to step into them as soon as they're presented. So that could be something that involves a new business project or venture, or just something I'm doing on the internet or with clients or whatever it is that pops up. And so that requires me to face a lot of fears. I've been petrified the last couple months because I've had to face so many fears in order to honor the deeper and greater desires of my heart. So I will not betray myself. And I feel that that's very loving. I feel that is me honoring myself and the soul that I am, so that when like the end of my life comes, I can feel like, you know what, I did it well. I did it right. I went for everything I truly desired, and I never gave up. So that's the best definition I can think of for self-love. What about you, Kathleen?
That's beautiful. I love it so much. And I think what you touched on about fears and overcoming them is a really big thing. I feel like being able to show up for myself, even when it's scary or hard, is really important. And so for me, that's manifested in starting like my music. I was afraid to get up and perform at first. I was afraid I wasn't good enough, all these things, but I just decided, no, like I want this more than I want to be afraid of it. And that's been so good for me, and it's awakened so much beauty in my life. And I think that is kind of exactly the stance we have to take. Like I want or need this, and so it's worth the work that I need to do to get there and to follow through with things. Because I think I tend to like give up on myself. Like you said, like I never gave up. I'll tend to be like, oh, it's just not going to work out or whatever. But learning to really stick with things and trust myself that I want it and that I want to do the work for it is how I'm learning to love myself. I won't say I do it perfectly, but I'm learning to realize that I'm worth it. I'm worth the work that I need to do to, reach those goals or achieve those dreams or learn those new skills, whatever it is. I started biking. You might be able to see there's bikes in the background here. Started biking this year because it's a nice pandemic-friendly activity. And it's really hard. The biking I've been doing up and down hills and long distances and things like that. But it's sort of one of those concepts of, once I'm on the bike and I've ridden so far, I just have to keep riding until I bring it back home, right? And so I think that's a mindset that's been really good. And I wrote a song about it earlier this year, just I must ride to the end and I must try to cherish it. And so whatever choices I'm making, whatever pursuits I'm doing, I need to follow it through and I need to cherish that moment as I'm following through with it. And I think being present with myself, even if it's a struggle, is kind and loving to me. Christin.
Nice. I think when we say self-love, I think the big thing that resonates with me in terms of definition is now. Self-love now, not the future. I can think of so many times in my life where I've been like, well, if only, when I turn this age or when this happens, I'll be able to love where I am and what I'm doing. But the truth of the matter is, I believe that self-love is an everyday thing, and it's loving and accepting who you are in this moment with what you have. Now, I'm not saying that this doesn't mean that you don't strive or try to do things with your life, or like Jennylyn said, I think the things that excite you and are a part of like the gifts that you have and what you have to offer, I think that's part of embracing self-love. But I think in the moment we need to be using those gifts. Like, I don't think that we should be waiting for a person to give you an opportunity or to say yes to you. I believe that what you have right now, in all of the packaging, and that's the inner and the outer packaging. That's my, my face, my hair, my body, just loving exactly what I have to offer in my life right now. Like, because I can remember times it was so awful, you know, unfortunately and many of us are, you know, one of those kids who went through like terrible bullying in school, and I was terribly bullied, and I was always waiting. I was like, I can't wait until I get older and I lose weight, or, you know, whatever it was. Like, there was always this, like, I can't wait for, like, rather than in the moment being like, no, I like exactly how I am right now. I love my curves. I have something to offer, you know, and it's just embracing that in the moment. Or like I said, like sometimes we like I was talking about waiting for, you know, either to be booked from an audition or for someone to give me the green light, like on a show concept I have, or dating, waiting for that guy to like affirm me because now I'm married, I'm a wife, you know, now I have meaning. But no, I have meaning and I have love to give right now in this moment, and the people that are around me. And I think that that's what self-love is. I think it's a now thing. It's a now and in the moment, everything that's inside of you and outside of you, just loving it and embracing it and using it to the full.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think we've just about reached our wrap-up time.
Yay.
So thank you everybody who's tuned in and watched, and thank you Jennylyn and Christin. This was an amazing conversation. I'm so inspired. I was like, I do kind of want to call Jennylyn about some coaching.
Yeah, you guys.
Picture me with the crown too.
You guys, we should just tell everyone before we go where to find us.
Yeah.
For me, guys, you just go to my website. It's jennylynchung.com. And from there, you can get links to my podcast and my YouTube and all the stuff I do in the coaching.
And your jewelry.
Yeah, and my jewelry. But yeah, Christin and Kathleen, go ahead and tell us where you.
I'm sorry, my camera's tired apparently. It keeps just shutting itself off. I keep having to turn it back on. But yeah, you can find me at Kathleen Marie on Facebook, and then Kathleen Marie Sings on Instagram. And that's where I'm sharing all the latest updates and exciting news. Have an online streamed show coming up in a couple weeks. So if you want to hop on that Zoom call, you can.
Nice, yay. So I can be found under two names. So obviously my name, Christin Jezak. You can find that on Instagram at Christin Jezak, on Facebook, and then also at Unexpected Crowns. That's the 2-woman show, and we are always doing comedy and things to uplift people, ladies in particular. So, but we have a lot of guys who watch us, even though originally we're like the ladies. No, we got a lot of guys. So so yeah, so follow us at Unexpected Crowns, and then P as in the letter P, 2 as in the number 2, P Theater, spelled the fancy way, THEATRE.com. That's my website. So I know it's a lot. Just find me on Instagram.
Just find me. I'm doing it now. There you are. Followed. All right, my camera is like, we're done.
Okay. Bye everybody. Tune in next week for whoever's here.